Well, coming up on today's show, a further step closer to the 60 kilowatt-hour Nissan Leaf, a silent Mercedes-Benz spotted. Could it be the EQA? And Tesla secures the Shanghai site for their next gigafactory. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. In fact, wherever you are in the world, welcome to EV News Daily. It's Thursday, the 18th of October 2018. It's Martyn Lee here, and I've been through every EV story that I can find today, so you don't have to. Thank you to myev.com for helping make this show. If you haven't checked them out yet, and you're in the market for buying or selling a used EV in North America, well, check out myev.com. If, for everyone else, you just want to learn and research about EVs, yep, they can help you out with that as well. Starting with Twitter, and someone I follow on Twitter, Matthias Schmidt, who is at @auto_Schmidt, sent out a simple tweet earlier today in Wolfsburg today and spotted an electric Tiguan and Touran, presumably ID test mules. So if you don't know, by the way, the Tiguan and Touran are VW SUVs of various sizes. Tiguan a bit smaller, Touran a bit larger, and he says that they were electric versions. So test mules for the ID range. Interesting stuff. I'm loving how many EV stories are cropping up on motor1.com lately. Fast becoming my go-to website alongside InsideEVs.com. And what's up with a camo-wrapped model they found on a YouTube video wearing heavy coverings on the front end? Actually, they say we should draw your attention to the back. There's a curious absence of exhausts. Now, we're not just talking about telltale puffs of vapour either. If you look really close, we can't see any piping at all, which means it could well be an all-electric Mercedes underneath all of that camouflage. Well, that assessment is further supported from the description of the spy video from Warco Art Videos on YouTube, which says the car was silent and emitted no visible exhaust. I guess you wouldn't see exhaust trails unless it was particularly cold wherever this was being filmed. I'll just say then, EQA, because it wasn't the EQC, which we now know what it looks like. However, when the car pulls away after a couple of seconds, I swear it looks like the car shifts from first to second gear, like it's a manual car. You know, you sort of see the car not jump forward and then back, but almost like a little break in the acceleration. It just could have been the driver lifted off the throttle, I suppose, if it is an EV. That doesn't make sense if it was an EV to look like that, but it is just a YouTube video at the end of the day. I've put a link in the show notes if you want to have a look for yourself, but exciting stuff that both VW and Mercedes look like they've got their EVs on the road in various forms and are getting those tests well and truly underway. What about a Nissan Leaf 60 kilowatt-hour test, though? Well, earlier this year, we saw a charging company, Switzerland or Austria? Should have looked this up before I got into this sentence. Charging a Nissan Leaf, but at 102 kilowatts. Now, that's not possible with the current technology inside the Nissan Leaf. Therefore, 2 plus 2 hopefully didn't equal 5. It was testing of the new 60 kilowatt-hour Nissan Leaf, which we know is coming at some point with cells from LG Chem and therefore active thermal management. Well, talking of Inside EVs, they've uncovered some dealer documents and done some Sherlock Holmesing of their own with the new larger battery Leaf. When it debuts next year, sometime next year, we don't know when, the upgraded 60 kilowatt-hour version looks like, according to these dealer documents, in the US at least, is due to cost an additional $5,500. That brings its starting price to $35,400, excluding destination and handling charges, taxes, title, license and options. Well, the current MSRP in the US of the Leaf, 40 kilowatt-hour Leaf, is $29,990, excluding charges and taxes. That translates, if you do the crude translation, which no you shouldn't, to about £22,800 here in the UK. However, if you go to the Nissan website today, the cheapest you can get that for, they're listing it, is £25,000. Obviously, we have taxes already on that price, value-added tax. However, they take off it. I believe the price Nissan put on their website is already taking off the government grant, which, for now, just is £4,500. When it debuts next year, the 60 kilowatt-hour version could be costing an extra $5,500, which, if you do the translation there, is about £2,000-ish pounds. £4,200. So, look, they're really rough maths, and we really shouldn't do it with that conversion. But it could be that the UK, if you add £4,500 to the current base price in the UK, that gets it towards about £30,000, which is not cheap, but Not an expensive EV for a 60 kilowatt hour battery. Here's a question for you. For $35,000, the new Nissan Leaf or the very, very basic Tesla Model 3? Now, in the Leaf, you know it's going to be loaded with all of their tech. You know, with the Model 3, you're clicking none of those option buttons. You're clicking basic paint. You're not getting anything extra for your $35,000. And you'll be tempted to hover over that little checkbox to start adding options. However, if you really have to compare apples and apples, is it a Leaf with all of the tech and the one-pedal driving and all that kind of stuff, or your super basic Model 3? Which one would you go for? Well, when Elon Musk unveiled the Model 3, if you can remember back then at the event, and the slide that he showed on screen said 220 miles of range, 5.6 seconds 0 to 60, and 130 miles an hour top speed for that basic $35,000 Model 3. Someone online said today, if the article is accurate, so on the Leaf, 50% more range, active thermal management, no rapid gate, 100 kilowatt charging, and only $5,500 more, that's a winner for a lot of people who aren't in love with Tesla, who don't need the supercharging network because they're not going to do those really long journeys. And when they do, they'll just use Electrify America's network because that's got CHAdeMO on it. Interesting question to ponder. Well, a little look at Formula E, which returns in December for its Season 5 with the brand new cars, twice the power, twice the storage, no change of cars halfway through. Just checking in with motorsport.com, Costa was claiming the honours for BMW for the second day in a row by setting the pace in a 3-hour morning session in the test for Formula E. 1 minute 16.977 was the first lap below 117 barrier. So if you were following it on Twitter like I was, actually, very interesting to see those tests continue. Couple of little battery problems, like Stoffel van Dorn couldn't get out of it. He's the Formula 1 driver from McLaren who's going to Formula E. He couldn't get out of his car because his car was a code red, which is nobody could approach it and touch it. There was a big shunt today, which affected the race simulation they were doing, but really interesting. Looking forward to Formula E coming back. Really looking forward to it, by the way. Well, let's get on to some Tesla news again. And Tesla has signed an agreement with the Shanghai government for an 860,000 square metre plot of land to build its first overseas gigafactory. This will be Giga 3. And Chinese social media posting that a little while ago before I came in to record this podcast. According to Reuters, the land agreement marks the first big key step towards the firm and Elon Musk making its cars locally in China, in a massively fast-growing market, even as tariffs are being imposed by Beijing on US-made goods, and that's caused it to hike the prices of imported models. Elon has said many times it's so important for Tesla to be making cars, at least on the continent, he said before, at least on the continent where you live, but to have gigafactories, which, as a reminder, all future gigafactories will make the batteries in the cars. At the moment, obviously, you've got Sparks, Nevada, you've got Fremont, big distance between the two, and when that, in the future, all future gigas are going to have, under one roof, battery production, general assembly, paint shop, all that kind of stuff. In goes the raw materials, out comes your car. Well, Elon Musk also said today that he plans to purchase $20 million of common stock during the next open trading window, according to a filing related to the CEO's settlement with the Securities and Exchange Commission. According to a new Tesla filing today, Elon has notified Tesla that he intends to purchase from Tesla, and Tesla expects it will issue $20 million of common stock during the next open trading window at the current market price. No coincidence there that $20 million was indeed the fine imposed on the settlement agreed upon, with no guilt inferred anywhere. That Tesla, as well as Elon paying $20 million to the SEC, Tesla would do that as well. So it looks like Elon saying, look, the company shouldn't be on the hook for a tweet I sent, so he's buying $20 million worth of stock. That's just me drawing a line between the two. Well, here in the UK, if you like me have Amazon Prime, and I get slightly addicted to having things the next day, it's kind of scary, the world that we live in now at 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I think, I need that for tomorrow. I'll just Amazon Prime it. And it's normally the best price as well. But even if it's a few pounds more, I know it's arriving the next day. I did that recently on a Saturday night. It was a birthday present for my mother-in-law. And I had 3 or 4 days notice. But I ordered it late on a Saturday night on my my iPhone app, and then I was working on Sunday. So I went into the office on Sunday about 9:30, 10, and the package was waiting for me. It's been like 12 hours since I ordered it, and it's a Sunday. Anyway, this isn't an advert for Amazon Prime, but my point being, whenever I do that, it tends to arrive by a company called DPD. And I do like them. They never seem to let me down, always follow delivery instructions. And I love with DPD, they're really good at sending you text messages and saying, we're going to be there in 20 minutes. We're going to be there in 12 and a half minutes. And whatever software tracking, AI, whatever sits on their platform, it's really reliable. So that's why I like them. And they're now turning all electric for last mile deliveries. Their first pure depot has opened in Westminster in London. It's a 5,000 square foot site, and it's due to handle 2,000 parcels a day. And it's the first of 8 all electric depots that DPD are putting in across London. According to motortransport.co.uk, it's going to cost them £500,000 to refurbish this facility, and it's going to have a new charging system for DPD's fleet of electric vehicles based on 3 types of vehicles at the site. Those are going to be the Mitsubishi Fuso e-Canter, the Nissan ENV 200s, and the Paxters. Well, 2 of the 7.5-ton e-Canters from Mitsubishi have got the 82 kilowatt-hour battery. They do 85 miles between each charge, and they are the big 7.5-ton lorries. They'll truck the parcels to the depot each day from the main depot. The final mile deliveries are being carried out by 2 vehicles. Firstly, the Nissan ENV 200s. They're the ones that can be vans, they're the ones that can be taxis, and they do about 120 stops a day on a charge. And the little Paxters. Now, the Paxters are Norwegian built, and they're a micro vehicle. They've got a 200 kilogram load capacity and a little baby 9 kilowatt hour battery, but it's all it needs because they'll be the ones delivering the parcels in the immediate vicinity of the depot. Like I was saying, you order something on Amazon and then it just arrives. How are they doing it? With these tiny little city vehicles. It's expected to operate 60 stops on a charge per day. DPD's got 23 more of these Paxters on order, and I'll put a full link to that article in the show notes. Funny enough, I was talking to someone today about the kind of commercial side, and it's just taking off at the moment, and fleets particularly, like DPD, would have had to think, right, how are we going to charge? Have we got a grid connection? How are we going to charge all these vehicles and all that kind of stuff? In fact, I'll tell you who I was talking to. He's the founder of a company called EO Charging. His name is Charlie Jardine, and he will be our guest a week on Saturday for a Saturday special on the podcast. Only a couple of years ago, he started a brand new company designing and manufacturing charge points, and of course you can have one on the side of your house, but is working very closely with fleets and commercial operators to solve the problems that they have with turning their fleets electric at a rapid pace as well. And a fascinating guy to talk to, finger completely on the pulse of everything that's happening literally at the moment today. And he will feature a week on Saturday for our Saturday special, but no more on that. Right, 2 more stories to go today. Actually, a couple more stories. I reckon we've got time because 13 odd minutes? Right, we've got time for some more. I never like to bang on too much, but we're getting through the stories today. So let me get onto this one. NIO is increasing their deliveries of their electric vehicle, the ES8. Well, according to Car Scoops, a month after the Chinese electric company NIO was listed on the New York Stock Exchange, they've announced a significant increase in deliveries of the ES8s. They've revealed earlier this week, in the third quarter of 2018, they delivered 3,268 ES8s. It's an SUV and slightly more than the target they had. And according to NIO, it's a positive result, which means they are on track for a delivery goal of 10,000 of them in the second half of the year. Well, Volkswagen's making its sales organisation fit for the future, they say. The brand at Volkswagen as the group, I think, is fundamentally going to realign its sales model. And it's having to do that alongside its dealers, big dealer model to VW. It's a new sales model. So when you come to buy an electric car from VW in the future, this is going to be launched in April 2020. So just around the time that there'll be the ID range is going to be available for purchase. When you buy an EV from VW, it's not going to be the way that you buy cars from them at the moment. Well, today in Berlin, Volkswagen and the European Dealer Council presented their vision for the future world of their dealers. They've got 5,500 dealers, by the way, and service partners, and 55,000 almost employees. The objective is to provide this kind of seamless experience for customers going beyond what they have at the moment. So, each year, with EVs and with their regular cars as well, and the fossils, Volkswagen wants to introduce about 5 million people to the brand every single year in terms of mobility, in terms of the group. So, they're going to do online sales. And online sales are going to be massively expanded. And direct sales finally become possible. 5 new formats are coming, things like city showrooms, pop-up stores in shopping centres, wherever we've seen that before, where there won't be any hard sell because you just go online and you configure your vehicle and you purchase it, and that's the price. I imagine that'll be welcome for some people. No more dealers, no more haggling over the price. Of course, when you've got 5,500 dealers, you have to keep them sweet, so there'll be a service model in there somewhere, and they clearly will sell cars as well. But I don't know about you, but kind of the way the world is going, I kind of like doing everything online on my phone, really. So if that's how I buy my cars in the future, well, I'm fully signed up to that. And a big move for Volkswagen today. I found that on the Volkswagen press site, and if you'd like to know more, I'll put a full link in the show notes. It's a long press release. There's loads of details in there about how they're going to do direct sales online. All right, definitely 2 more stories now. Workhorse Group announced that the Workhorse NGEN, the NGen 1000s, are a new lightweight electric vehicle. It's a delivery van, and it's finally entered production this week. The NGen 1000's curb weight is 4,000 pounds, less than a half of what a traditional diesel step van would weigh, and yet you can carry the same storage, 1,000 cubic feet. Management at Workhorse believes the weight reduction, coupled with a good range, 100 miles, it's about 160 kilometres, is going to have big cost savings for fleets and make EVs a real alternative for traditional fleet delivery vehicles and just make them more appealing. Cheaper to run, less servicing, and they'll do all the miles you need to do before the driver has to stop driving, go back to the depot and charge up. Well, the final story today was all about autopilot. And before I record the show, I always like just to quickly check Twitter to see what Elon Musk has said. Well, Elon took to Twitter today to announce that owners are going to get a new autopilot chip in 6 months that'll be much more powerful and enable their long-awaited full self-driving. In a series of tweets, he said that owners who've prepaid for full self-driving mode in their car, which still isn't operational, is going to get the new chip for free when it becomes available. According to Green Car Reports, other Tesla owners who want better performance for the car's autopilot system, it's a combination of the adaptive cruise control, the active lane control. You can buy the chip for $5,000, and that's going to come with full self-driving. I'll put a link to the Green Car Reports article in the show notes for today. Right, on to our question of the week. This is where I'd love to hear from you on YouTube, Facebook, the feedback form on the blog, or even email, which is hello@evnewsdaily.com. Here's the question this week. It seems that automakers either have to put a big battery in their car or make them very efficient, and for some reason they're not really doing both at the moment. Some of the really big new cars that are coming, those SUVs, have got lovely big batteries, like the Audi e-tron Quattro SUV, but as for efficiency, well, it can't really match the likes of things like the Hyundai Ioniq, for instance. Tiny battery, but mega efficient. So what's more important to you? Is it having that big headline number on the battery, or a smaller battery, but just make it way more efficient? Well, if you want to answer that, please do so before Sunday, when we'll read out all the answers to Question of the Week and set you a brand new question. There are 103 patrons of the show, and if you would like to do the same, I would love to invite you to check out patreon.com/evnewsdaily. There are 268 previous episodes online for free from the place you get podcasts from. And on the social media, just search EV News Daily. You'll find me. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow.